bit of hope as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches,
from football to tennis in the car,
in the kitchen.
GB News breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again
to start your day just right. GB News breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome along to Patrick Christys tonight, late edition. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
A little bit closer. Okay, here we go, a big one. Off the ground, one more.
Well, we are 23 minutes away from witnessing the first crewed mission to the moon in more than 50 years, with Artemis 2 set to take astronauts deeper into space than ever before. You're looking at it on the launch pad. It has had 2 technical faults, so they were worried twice that we were going to cancel it. But it's still going ahead at the moment, and the crew includes the first black man to go near the moon.
3, 2, 1. All engines running. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff. The tower is clear.
We've got the first woman to go near the moon. It's the first Canadian to go near the moon.
2, 1, ignition. Engines full power, and liftoff of Galileo L-13. Go SpaceX, go Falcon.
Most surprisingly of all, there's a straight white man. But there's a big twist to the tale. As I was saying, NASA is reporting that there is an issue with the battery. So will they actually make it, or won't they? Ben Leo is on the ground for us in Florida. He is going to be experiencing the blast of the launch live, along with thousands of other people who have gathered there to see it. We are going to be joined by space experts. We're going to be joined by astrophysicists. We've got an absolutely action-packed hour coming your way. So let's see, hey, 21 minutes time. Are we going to make history together? Well, we've also got a top panel with us, journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov, who saw the first moon landing.
I did.
You did?
It was fantastic.
You saw the first moon landing, so there you go. And we've got comedian and GB News contributor and actual geek. It's Stephen Allen who's going to be talking us through it. But first, let's get those bulletins with Katie Bowen. All systems are go.
Patrick, thank you and good evening. The headlines at 3 minutes past 11. We start with a breaking update on the Artemis 2 launch. NASA has reported a new technical issue as the countdown is firmly on to the first mission to the moon in more than 50 years. NASA firstly said that there was a slight issue with the flight termination system, but that's now been resolved. But they've now reported a fresh battery temperature issue, with the launch now set to be in 20 minutes' time. NASA's found that the battery is working fine, but that the issue could be linked to a sensor. They're still working to investigate the problem. Earlier, the King sent his heartfelt good wishes to the astronauts preparing to blast off. They'll fly aboard the Orion space module for a 10-day trip around the far side of the moon. President Trump has posted on Truth Social saying America is winning in space, on Earth and everywhere in between, economically, militarily and now beyond the stars. GB News is live in Florida all night. Stay tuned to watch events as they unfold. Elsewhere, President Trump is expected to reiterate a 2 to 3 week timetable for ending the war in Iran during an address to the nation tonight. That's according to the White House. That's as a senior Iranian source says that Tehran demands a guaranteed ceasefire to end the war permanently. President Trump warned any deal would depend on the Strait of Hormuz being open, free and clear. He's also renewed his criticism of NATO, saying the alliance was a paper tiger, and questioned Britain's military capability, claiming the UK doesn't have a navy. In a breaking update tonight, NATO chief Mark Rutte is set to meet President Trump next week. Well, the conflict in the Middle East continues to push up global energy prices. Back at home, Sir Keir Starmer said today that the cost of living remains this government's #1 priority. The Prime Minister went on to say that the UK will pursue closer economic ties with the European Union in light of the war, adding that he'll use a summit with the EU later this year to seek more cooperation with the bloc on the economy and security. Resident doctors have accused Sir Keir Starmer of having needlessly and avoidably inflamed the dispute. That's in response to the Prime Minister's warning for them to call off strikes or lose thousands more training places. Sir Keir Starmer threatened to remove training places from the current offer if the strikes, which are due to begin on Tuesday, were not called off. But the BMA said that the government's current offer falls short and did not meet the standard required to be put to the union. The Times newspaper is reporting tonight that the Prime Minister has now officially withdrawn those training places. And former BBC Radio 2 presenter Scott Mills fully cooperated with a 2018 police investigation relating to an allegation of a historical sexual offence, a statement released through his lawyers has said. The statement goes on to say, as the police have stated, a file of evidence was submitted to the CPS which determined that the evidential threshold had not been met to bring charges. Since the investigation related to an allegation that dates back nearly 30 years and the police investigation was closed 7 years ago, I hope the public and the media will understand and respect my wish not to make any further public comment on this matter. It comes as the BBC confirmed that it became aware of new information relating to Scott Mills in recent weeks and subsequently terminated his contract. Separately, it clarified it was made aware in 2017 of an ongoing police investigation, which was then closed in 2019 with no arrests or charges. The BBC said it was looking into the detail of what was known at the time, and GB News has approached Mr. Mills for comment. Those are your latest GB News headlines. Now it's back to Patrick.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Welcome along to a very special edition of Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, and I believe we can take you to some live shots straight away because in 16 minutes' time, hopefully, we are going to see the launch of Artemis 2. Now, you were just hearing that they've had not one but two technical faults. The latest one was to do with the launch abort system battery, but I've got some good news for you because in the last 30 seconds, we've just been told by NASA that the battery issue it is identified will not stop the launch. So that is incredibly good news, but it's still very much touch and go, I think, isn't it? Will they, won't they, in many respects? respects. They've had a couple of technical faults. What else are they going to find in the next 16 minutes? Can you imagine being inside the capsule now and thinking, gosh, you know, are we actually going to go for the moon? Joining us this evening, we've got space expert Andy Lound and astrophysicist researcher Maggie Liu, as well as journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov, who saw the first moon landing, which I always feel a bit offensive saying, but it is true,
I don't
right?
care. Those black and white days, and I'm back in those black and white days.
Well, there you go. So sorry, I'm not being rude.
No, not
and we've
at all.
and we do have GB News contributor and fully fledged space geek Steve N. Allen. Now, Andy, can I start with you, because you've brought several models with you, which I think we're going to be showing off a little bit later on in more detail, because we're quite focused on this now. But these couple of technical issues that we've had at the moment, pretty nerve-jangling stuff.
It is. The power system towards the abort system is quite important, because if anything goes wrong with the rocket as it's lifting off, you need that to work, because the rockets on the top of the vehicle will fire and carry the capsule away and drop them into the ocean for safety. So that's got to be done. They had a heating problem on another battery inside the Orion spacecraft itself. That's a major fault, because if they had to take the battery out, you'd have to shut everything down to do it. But it seems that they've solved that one as well. These are the glitches you usually get, however, on a launch.
I mean, I find that absolutely terrifying, to be honest with you. You'd hope it was all sorted by now, but no. Now, Maggie, you have got a moon with you, haven't you? Is it over-ambitious of me to ask you to show us what route they're going to be taking around the moon? Is there a particular bit of it they're going to be focusing on, if you hold that up? Or?
I'm not even sure this is an accurate depiction. But
the real moon doesn't have a label on it.
Yeah, well, the real moon wasn't made in Taiwan or whatever. Yeah.
So the idea is that the spacecraft will actually loop almost around the Earth twice. It will go into an orbit around the Earth, and then it will trial out everything with the Orion spacecraft. And as long as that is good to go, is when it will get deployed, looping around the moon towards the far side of the moon, which we never get to see because it always faces away from us. And this is why this kind of period is super important, because right now is when that far side of the moon is facing towards the sun, so it will be very nice and lit. So when the astronauts kind of fly around it, they'll be able to see all the craters and all the kind of areas.
Oh, fantastic. Well, look, I'm hoping that as we get a bit closer to the time now, because we're 13 minutes away, supposedly, from this launch, we might be able to dip into an audio feed from NASA, hear what the astronauts are saying, hear what the control desk is saying to them as well, and just get a real feel for that. But before we go to that, and before we go to my other panellists, well, Andy, what will be going on in the capsule that we were looking at a moment ago?
We're listening to the chatter from the command centre, going through the final checks, checking all the numbers, making sure everything is working. Their job really now is to sit and relax as best as they can, because it is really up to the command centre now, and all the engineers sitting there to check every system as it's going. And they'll be just looking at their screens and going through the numbers and getting themselves prepped, ready for the launch itself, and waiting for any instructions that they may have to suddenly take to do something. And that's what many people often think the astronauts fly the spacecraft. They don't. The ground control really do the flying, and they tell the astronauts what to do at a particularly given moment in time.
Gosh, OK. Right, so, Nina.
Yes?
You, obviously, remember the moon landing, I think was it 56 years ago?
Probably that, yeah.
Yeah. How does this rank for you? Because we're finally going back. I mean, there's been a huge pause in our moon exploration.
Which I think has been a disaster. I mean, I'm thrilled that we're going back again, but it's actually, I think, criminal that we've had to wait this long. I mean, and when it first happened, the excitement, I can't tell you the excitement, because since then, generations have grown up and they've seen, you know, space movies and other things. So that's not, you know, they just take it for granted. Oh, we do this. In those days, this was a man actually leaving the planet. Nobody had ever done that before.
Absolutely. I mean, the bravery of the crew. I mean, Steve, you were telling me there that you haven't got the bottle for this, have you, mate?
Thoroughly devoid of the requisite bottle. No, not at all, because it seems terrifying. I like the Earth. I evolved for this environment, so I'm going to stay this. I'm quite well suited to having oxygen, to having a temperature that my fluids don't freeze at. So they're the kind of things I like to stay. You know, call me unadventurous, but yeah, I'll stay on this planet and watch.
Yeah, OK. I'm hoping that we might be able to hear a bit of audio as we near the 10-minute mark till launch. I'm hoping we can hear what is being said between...
CCL 212.
WTC.
ARS primary loop isolation valve configurations complete.
Copy.
So, Andy, what are we listening to there, Andy? What is that? Is that...
Yeah, what they're doing is they're going through all the isolation valves to make sure everything is sealed off ready. They're still topping it up, of course, at the moment, because it gets some boil off, so you have to keep that topped up. So they're making sure everything is ready for that. At some point, that will just simply stop, and they'll be just on their own. And as the time countdown goes on, you'll hear that they're going for internal power, and that's when the spacecraft itself has its own internal power. It's still feeding some power from outside, from the ground at the moment, but when that's completely cut, the vehicle is powering itself, and that's a great moment when that happens, because you know it's going through. But they're having to go through all the numbers, check all the instruments, check all the sensors. There is thousands of sensors on this vehicle which have to be monitored all the time. Pressure in the tanks especially. You can't afford a drop in pressure.
Absolutely. Now, in just a moment's time, we're going to go live to Florida physically with our very own Chief US Correspondent Ben Leo. He's just getting ready for us over there, so we're going to get the feel for what it's like actually on the ground. But Maggie, I don't want to put too much of a downer on this. How dangerous is this that we're looking at here? So we hear the words technical faults and we think, oh gosh, OK, here we go. I mean, you know, how dangerous is this?
Well, they are sitting on a lot of fuel, so I would say it's pretty dangerous. But NASA are super safe. If they, as Andy said, they're monitoring every single kind of statistic there. Anything that seems suspicious, they're going to pause, or they're going to completely abort. They're not going to go ahead if they see something out of place.
Well, fingers crossed, we get the go-ahead in now 9 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's go to Ben Leo, who is in a kind of viewing space with thousands of other people who have gathered, so many lucky people who are there. Ben, there you go. We're less than 10 minutes away now. Well, eight minutes away from launch. Go on.
Yes, Patrick, we are. However, I'm just hearing now live there is a potential third issue which may delay it very, very slightly. We're just waiting to get more confirmation on that. Something to do. More details I don't have just yet, but I'll try and bring them to you. I also need to clarify, I did a complete disservice to previous women, black men and Canadians who have gone to space. Of course, this mission, Artemis 2, is the first, not that it matters anyway, but the first black man, Canadian to go on a lunar mission. Actually, the black astronaut, a chap called Victor Glover, he said none of that stuff matters, all the DEI stuff. I don't want to be known about the colour of my skin. I want to be known about the merit of completing this mission. So. But we are just hearing, as I said, Patrick, a potential third issue. There's just the murmurs and whispers in the crowd. Now, Matthew, what's going on here? Just come into shot.
Apparently, they have lost a lock with the vehicle, so the communication for just a split second. And they're trying to figure out whether that was simply a glitch or if it is a more serious problem. It shouldn't be a more serious problem, but we still have to...
And just to tell our British viewers on GBNews, you are an actual rocket scientist. You're not just some punter with a cap, are you?
Yeah, actually, I'm the founder of a company building orbital rockets in Italy.
OK.
So
is the launch delayed here?
It's in hold right now, so it's going to take a few more minutes than expected. Let's see if they resume. As soon as they resume, it's going to be the T-minus 10 minutes, and from there on, if there is a scrub, it's going to be cancelled for the day.
OK, well, potentially, as you just heard there, Patrick, from Matteo, he is a literal rocket scientist from Italy here today, seeing the launch. It's on tenterhooks, the atmosphere, very tense. And I hope it does go ahead today, because people have arrived here from 5, 6, 7 in the morning.
But they are trying to make sure that it's not a problem.
OK.
But it sounds like they have a loss of lock as well.
Space, some 250,000 miles, which is around 2,000 miles more than Apollo 13.
And I guess
so I'm just trying to listen to Matteo in the background. But also, it's the dress rehearsal for potential boots on the ground in 2028. Patrick, back to you.
Yeah, Ben, thank you very, very much, mate. And we're going to be going back to Ben Leo for that launch. I think we actually could, quite good timing in a way, eagle-eared, if that's the phrase. Viewers and listeners there will have been able to hear what we heard there, where we were kind of accessing the feed from the control room, and they said, absolutely, they lost lock for a while. So how serious?
You kind of they seem to have a comms issue going on, whether that's a comms, verbal comms, or whether it's comms data coming down. But if you lose it, that's critical. You can't have that. You must have full communications with the vehicle. They can stop the countdown at 10 seconds. That's a normal procedure. It's a good 10 minutes. That's a normal procedure to stop it at 10 minutes. So you've got a bit of wiggle room there. They can restart the countdown.
It says here, just breaking now, the terminal count hasn't been started. So is the terminal count, that's from around Artemis? We're not there yet. So that hasn't been started. They're obviously hoping that they can fix this. They discussed a transponder anomaly. So they're not scrubbing the launch. They have a 2-hour launch window to make sure that everything is fine. So there's still plenty of time. Maggie, what are they actually hoping to get from the far side of the moon? Because I seem to remember reporting a couple of years ago that the Indian space program, they actually landed a kind of something, like a rover or something, on the far side of the moon. So presumably they've been exploring there for quite a while.
Absolutely, and China have sent landers to the far side of the moon too. So yes, we have landed on the far side of the moon. But when you send rovers, they can't explore very far. They're not humans. Humans can explore places that rovers can't access. Things like lava tubes, things like these giant craters where we expect there to be a lot of ice and water. Those are the places that are inaccessible, and we want to go there.
Yeah, well, and the reality is we don't know what we're going to find. I mean, we've obviously got an idea, don't we? All go on. Andy, you've got your hand up. What's going on?
MCO. They're polling all the engineers to see if they should go with the count.
Oh my gosh! Go on, explain what's happening. Okay, let's listen in. Actually, can we boost this?
Houston flight.
Houston flight is go.
Rock.
Rock is go.
And CDR.
Crew is go.
Copy that. Thank you, Reed. And Launch Director NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
Oh, there we go.
All right, NTD, I copy all. At this time, I'll perform my poll. Attention on the net. This is the Launch Director performing the final poll for launch. Verify no constraints and go for launch. EGS, Program Chief Engineer.
Artemis Chief Engineers are go.
Copy, thank you. EGS, Chief Safety Officer.
The Artemis CSOs are go.
Copy, thank you. Range weather.
Launch weather is go.
Thank you, LWO. And Artemis MMT Chair.
MMTs go.
Thank you, John.
Okay, so far.
And Integrity Launch Director.
Good to hear your voice, Charlie. PLT. Thank you, Charlie. This is Victor. We are going for our families. MS1.
This is Christina. We are going for our teammates.
MS2. This is Jeremy. We are going for all humanity.
These are the astronauts now, aren't they?
Charlie, your Artemis 2 crew is go for launch.
Wow.
Full send.
Full send.
I copy that.
So that is the poll of people on the ground.
Engineers, and they check with the crew if they're ready.
And they've said they're ready. That is
the daring spirit of the American people
and
our partners across the globe, and the hopes and dreams of a new generation. Good luck. Godspeed, Artemis 2. Let's go.
Whoa, I've got goosebumps. Well,
and
there we go.
NTD Launch Director.
Go ahead, Launch Director.
We're just listening to messages here, obviously between the capsule, people on the ground. So we'll keep dipping in and out of this, but I mean, this just feel like we've got all the green lights now. We're ready to go, and it feels like we're about to witness history, Steve. I think, doesn't it?
It does, but do you not want to not tempt fate? I mean, so far 3 small problems, and had to be a pause on the start of the terminal count. It's possible there could be another one, isn't it? I know we've got the comms there because you can hear it. If they lose that, so I don't know. I don't want to tempt fate and get the popcorn out.
How do you feel?
I just feel so excited. I mean, you know, because I saw that first one and I know what it meant.
We've been here before.
Yeah. It is, and I remember because landing on the moon, but then going out in the middle of the night and looking at the moon and thinking, there are human beings on that. I mean, you know, it was just beyond, you know, spine-chilling. It was just, it was a magical thing. It was magical. And so when I hear people say nowadays, oh, it's a waste of money, think of the people who, you know, are homeless or the... I of course have sympathy, but this is something entirely different. You have to strive, you have to explore, you have to find...
Well, and we get so much out of it, don't we? I mean, during the Cold War especially, you know, we as an entire human race have benefited from some of the technologies that were uncovered because of that urgency of the space race. So, you know, what happens here and going forward, it could benefit us all, couldn't it, really, in terms of technology, etc.?
There has been so many technologies that have been advanced from the Apollo missions, things like microchips, MRI machines, water filtration, like loads of those things. And that is how a lot of science plays out. We don't build these science missions for kind of economic gain in the first instance, but you gain a lot out of them. Things like radio dishes like Jodrell Bank, that was built to detect cosmic rays, and in the end it helped us detect the first intercontinental missiles.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up near Jodrell Bank. So you could see it from just around the corner from where I lived, actually. I do think that's one of the reasons why I've got kind of so into the whole space stuff. But so we don't... The timer has gone. I believe the timer has still been paused for now. Now that they've all given it the green light, Andy, what do you think will be going on here? What kind of time frame?
Through the final things, ready to start the countdown again. Simple as that, to just resume.
It will just resume.
It's a standard procedure as they go down to make sure they've reset everything, ready for the countdown to start. So it looks good that they're going to restart.
OK. Go on, Nina.
I was going to ask Andy, I was going to say, you know, the astronauts are trained and trained and trained and trained for many, many years. But I'm wondering, could any of them have slept last night? Do you know what I mean? I mean, how do you...
Those have flown before, probably, yes. Strangely.
Do you think?
Yeah. I mean, there's the famous story of the first space shuttle launch, which was a test flight with Crippen and John Young. John Young's heart rate never got above resting on liftoff. Crippen's was racing. John Young had been to the moon twice. He'd flown on Gemini. Big deal. I've been there, done that.
Wow.
And so, yes. So that's why you have experienced people on. The new flyers, their hearts will be going nine to the dozen. Oh, yes. They'll be so excited.
OK, gosh. All right, we're going to go back shortly to Ben Leo, GB News' chief US correspondent, who is well, as close as you're really able to get to the launch there. Just to give you a recap, if you are just joining us, there are a couple of technical faults with Artemis 2, which threatened maybe to delay the launch or cancel it entirely. As far as we're aware, those have now been resolved, and you might have just heard earlier on them running through all of their checks, and it seems like every single person that is relevant to this has given it the green light. Spare a thought, though, for those astronauts who've been sitting in that capsule for how long now, Andy, roughly? How long?
Quite a few hours now, yes.
A few hours?
It took much earlier, yes, to get themselves settled in. Yes, because what you do is all the engineers have got the data, they're feeding it back, and if they say it's go, and they're just double-checking all the things now just to make sure. So, yeah, it's a constant rechecking process. It's good science, actually. Engineering and science works that way together.
And just roughly, just before we go to Ben Leo, Maggie, how long do you think it could be, if as planned, this goes ahead, how long is it before the next launch where we maybe do put men and women on the moon?
So originally, Artemis 3 was meant to be landing astronauts on the moon, but then recently, Jared Isaacman, the head of NASA, has delayed that. So the next mission won't be landing on the moon, so it'll be...
So we're not quite sure. We've just got to tell you, they've restarted the countdown. Let's go to Ben Leo. They've restarted the countdown. 9 minutes, 11 seconds till launch. Ben.
Patrick, hello. Yeah, massive cheers here in Spaceview Park in Florida, just 9 miles off the coast of the Kennedy Space Center. Big smiles on everyone's faces after not 1 but 2 but 3 possible near misses. So I think we're going to the moon, well, at least those brave astronauts are. The bridge here is absolutely packed. The atmosphere has gone from anxious and tense, and actually there's people trying to, if you look in the water here, there's people getting the best position possible by rolling up their jeans, and dunking into the water, big smiles on their faces. I can't actually quite believe, Patrick, that I'm here. It's a once-in-a-lifetime moment, which I spoke to a guy who works on Apollo 11 a bit earlier today. He was in the control room for Apollo 11, which, of course, was Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong's mission to the moon. And he was saying, you know, that, of course, was a momentous time in human history. And he says this is as well because it's a dress rehearsal for Artemis 4 2028, where, again, America will be putting boots on the ground on the lunar surface once again. So I think we're about 7 or 8 minutes away now, Patrick. Everybody is absolutely buzzing, not least me. Actually also feeling quite emotional as well. And such is the busyness of this bridge here. I've had to lump my boy, who, lucky for him, is on my shoulders now. I'm not sure how much he'll appreciate or remember this moment, but at least I guess he'll be caught on camera, Patrick.
And this is absolutely wonderful, and for you to just be there for a start, but for you to be there with your son experiencing this, he will remember this, mate. He absolutely will remember this. There is no doubt about it. You know, I'm in the studio now with a couple of people who saw the original moon landing. They've certainly not forgotten it, even though they were very, very young. I'm very young at the time, far too young to have even seen it, I think. But yeah, so it's going to be amazing. And Ben, sorry, you mentioned that people were jostling for position as we count down now about 6 minutes till launch. Could you just ask your cameraman to show us? Some people are trying to get the best view. What are they doing?
Yeah, so there, if you look here, there's people dunking themselves into the water. So the sea, of course, runs into the mainland here, and because it's so busy, you can see on the rocks, it's just you can't move an inch. Everybody's barging shoulders, jostling for position, up close and personal. But these guys have a good idea, shrewd, rolling up their trousers, getting into the water, and as I said, after the anxiety and the tension of will we be lifting off, launching off, will we not, now we're on. And by the way, the sun, I don't know if you can see that, Ben, cameraman, the sun has just come out absolutely beaming. It's been windy all day, it's been wet, pretty sodden, but the sun, at the very best, come out seemingly gracing those 4 astronauts in the Orion capsule on top of the rockets. And we're 6 minutes away. We're 6 minutes away now. Matteo, our helpful Italian rocket scientist, giving us nice updates here on the bridge. The sun is gracing all of us, Patrick, and we're 6 minutes away, and I feel incredibly emotional, incredibly excited, and yeah, this is a moment in human history that you, me, viewing listeners will never forget.
Absolutely, Ben, thank you so much. Now, what I'd like to do is, because Ben's saying as well that apparently from where you are, where he is there, you can actually feel some of the reverberation. So what I'm hoping we'll do is, because we'll be taking the launch live, you know, with the live shots of it, if we can record whatever Ben feels and is there, then play it out later, because I want the noise, I want everything from it. There we go. Right, now, I have lost the countdown here, unfortunately, but my estimates are that it is exactly, in fact, I'm just being told in my ear, it is exactly 5 minutes. So, 5 minutes till launch. We're going to welcome Tom Harwood into the studio in a second as well, because he's going to be guiding you through the next couple of hours. I mean, Andy, we've got 5 minutes until this now. You do look incredibly excited by this.
Oh yes, my heart is now racing. This is how it was. I mean, literally, you were talking about watching it. I mean, Apollo 8 was the thing that got me started in space science. Anyway, I was 5 years old at the time of Apollo 8, and I can still remember the moment now when they were launching that and going. They actually went into lunar orbit at the time, of course. The first humans ever to leave the Earth, and that is a big moment. And you're right, Nina said it's absolutely right. It's so long. I've waited 50 odd years for them to do this again. It's been such a long time waiting. It's happening again. It's great.
Isn't it that we did the first ones because of fear of Russians getting there first, and the reason we're doing it again now is because China and India are getting involved.
We need a bit of competition.
Yeah, honestly, I think without it, then people don't, you know, they take their eye off the ball. Without it, we wouldn't explore space.
No.
But when Kennedy made his speech, and we choose not to do this, not because it is easy, but because it is difficult. I mean, Kennedy was the young president. You know, he was a hero to us here because the world had been ruled by old men, and here was this young, good-looking president. And suddenly, you know, everything seemed possible. We were at the dawn of a new era, and everything was actually focused on that space mission, because that epitomised everything that he was saying. That we're launching into, you know, a new era, a new world, and so that was all rolled up in that.
Absolutely. 3 minutes, 20 seconds, and I'm going to read to you now what was said to the Artemis crew just moments ago. Reed, Victor, Christina and Jeremy, on this historic mission, you take the heart of this Artemis team, the daring spirit of the American people and our partners across the globe, and the hopes and dreams of a new generation. Good luck. Godspeed, Artemis 2. Let's go. And there we are. Tom Harwood's in the studio now. Tom, 2 minutes.
I am so excited for this, Patrick. Patrick, this is genuinely the start of, I think, the second space age. People throughout the 1960s had their children dressing up as astronauts to go to birthday parties. We're about to see this again.
Yeah.
People are about to get excited about space again. The first time in 53 years that people have gone this far. I mean, what an extraordinary feat. Most people travelling to the International Space Station, that's about 250 miles above the Earth's surface. These people are going to be travelling 250,000 miles. It's 1,000 times further than we're used to flying and have been used to flying for half a century.
Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Right, what are we looking at, Andy?
Let's just have a look there. That's the gimbal checks. The engine's gimbal. It means they can actually change the force to make sure it goes straight through the rocket. So you've got the centre of gravity rocket. They've just done a gimbal check there. You have to do that about this time to make sure everything is working. So that's really the final preparations before you actually lift off.
OK, now, we are, I believe, because, by the way, in case you're wondering where the clock's gone, the issue is that they paused it because they had a couple of technical issues. They wanted to do their checks, and then they restarted it, but, you know, it's not entirely sure exactly where they are on that clock thing. So it could be as close as a minute. It could be any second now. Any second now. Maggie, what do you make of what we are seeing here? The very final checks. What has to happen, by the way? Does the kind of what would you call it? Almost like the stairwell at the side of it there.
Gantry.
Does that have, the gantry? Does that have to detach, or does it go as it is? What?
It will just go once it's lit. So I think the main kind of bridge is gone, right? So once it's lit, it will go up.
It will go up. Gosh, Tom,
Once
I mean...
the solid boosters are lit, there's no turning back.
Yes, well, yeah, I mean...
this is a criticism, to some extent, of this SLS rocket, that it's a bit... If it looks a little bit like the old space shuttle, that's because a lot of it is largely made of the old space shuttle. It's hodgepodge together, relatively cheaply. There's been a lot of criticism about the SLS from the space community, because it's not really a top-tier rocket compared to the stuff that SpaceX is making.
We've got about 30 seconds. Can we listen live in to the communications here? I'm hoping that we might be able to.
Down. Here we go. Honor any holds that could come from the ground. Now, shortly after liftoff, Houston will take control of the rocket, and my colleague Gary Jordan will take over commentary.
GLS, go for area left.
Great call out. The rocket is on its own. 4 brave explorers ready to ride the most powerful rocket NASA has ever launched. Sound suppression water is flowing.
Away from launch.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Good roll pitch.
Roger, roll pitch.
Houston now controlling the flight of Integrity on the Artemis 2 mission around the moon.
The Integrity, AMT high.
AMT high.
On time, passing 30 seconds into the flights. Integrity passes the alternate beacon. Target milestone. Mission Control Houston seeing good performance on the main engines. Space Launch System core stage. Integrity, 3 miles in altitude. Traveling traveling more than 1,200 miles per hour.
It's a huge amount for us.
Mission elapsed time, passing 1 minute, approaching max Q.
On, Ponce de Leon.
Stan, we have you loud and clear on Ponce de Leon.
Have you the same?
Communication signal transfer confirmed as Integrity and its crew go supersonic. Approaching 90 seconds into the Artemis 2 mission. Integrity is 14 miles in altitude, 8 miles downrange, traveling more than 2,600 miles per hour. Minute 50 seconds of mission elapsed time, standing by for main engine throttle down to 85%, ahead of solid rocket booster separation, expected at the 2-minute 9-second mark. We see throttle down. Confirmed separation. Main engine's throttling up, guidance converged.
Integrity, guidance converged, performance nominal, upper stage RCS ready.
Copy all, Stan.
Integrity, SM priming complete.
SM priming complete.
2 minutes 45 seconds of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. Thrusters on Integrity and upper stage confirmed in a ready state, ahead of service module fairing separation. 3 minutes into the flight. Integrity, 49 miles in altitude, 78 miles downrange, now passing 5,000 miles per hour.
Okay, so you are watching and listening to the launch of
launch abort system jettison.
2. We're going to keep that commentary in the background there. If you are listening on radio, I urge you, please, 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 pull over if you're driving. Find a way of watching this. It is a spectacular, amazing, awe-inspiring thing we're witnessing. Andy, just talk to us about the progress that we're seeing so far. It all seems to be going to plan.
Yes, the booster separation was very clean and very separated, and that went really well. One of the things it does then is it throttles up to give it more power then. It throttles back to allow them to separate quite neatly, and then it throttles back up and pushes forward, and then it blows away the cowling around the side of the spacecraft here, and then it loses the emergency rocket system on the top, which is the escape system. So they're on their own now, the astronauts, as they go up there. The only way they could separate now is by separating physically from the rest of the vehicle to recover if there's an emergency.
So we're off to a good start, Maggie, by the sounds of things.
It looks like it, yeah. It looks beautiful.
It is beautiful. Go on. How did you feel watching that then?
Really emotional. Really emotional, yeah.
I think, go on, Tom, what do you make of what we're seeing?
I mean, it is just the most stupendous sight. It's something that we have only really seen 10 times before with those Apollo missions, those manned Apollo missions, sending humans on such a powerful rocket up quite so far.
Are they already looking at the Earth?
Yes, you can actually see the... I mean, you're not in orbit yet, but you're getting up there. You can start to see the curvature of the Earth and the atmosphere. It's absolutely breathtaking.
We're about to be joined in the studio by an astronaut, by the way, so give us a second. I mean, Tom, the amazing feat of human endeavour. I can remember having an assembly at school where I was told that the same technology on mobile phones, and bearing in mind that this would have been about 15 years ago, the same technology level that's in your mobile phones is very similar to the amount of technology that was in the initial initial mission that went to the moon and thinking, gosh, how on earth did we do it? How did we do it?
Isn't this the incredible thing? Look how much technology has moved on in these 53 years since we last touched down on the moon in December 1972. Think about everything about our lives. How much has changed? And yet, we have been stuck in this sort of sclerotic space of low Earth orbit. Now, that's not to denigrate the continuous human presence we've had in space since the year 2000, an impressive feat in and of itself. It's not to denigrate all of the science that has been done in low Earth orbit, all of the satellites we've put up, the rovers we've put on Mars, the rovers we've put on the moon. Great stuff. But there is nothing that beats the inspiration of humans making that mission and going that distance.
I cannot wait, by the way, to go back to Ben Leo. I get that we've got to sit on these images for a while because it's amazing, it's awe-inspiring. But our very own Ben Leo was there. He will have witnessed it, he will have felt it, he will have heard it. I cannot wait to see the look on his face when we go back to him, hopefully, in a few minutes' time. We're joined in the studio now by astronaut and entrepreneur Per Wimmer. Per, it could have been you.
I know. I'm so excited and thrilled for the crew, and what a successful and beautiful launch. I mean, you're literally shaking. It's so emotional. This is history. This is our Apollo 8. I mean, I was only a few months old when Apollo 8 took off. Now we can see it, experience it for ourselves. It's truly fantastic and historic.
And the buzz is still there. I mean, I can remember towards the end of the Apollo programme, I can remember people saying that they actually struggled for airtime towards the end because the public got a bit too used to us going to space. Well, we've had like 50 years to kind of build up to getting back, and we're pumped again, aren't we? We are so super pumped again. What is it for you, Per, that makes you want to do something that is incredibly dangerous? Why would you want to do what they're doing now?
Well, I'm an adventurer, so I do slightly more than average dangerous things. I mean, I have in my adventure background done the world's first skydive over Mount Everest. So arguably I've done things that are a little bit more dangerous than going into space, because when it comes to space and rockets, they are actually tested and tried. Yes, things go wrong occasionally, but most of the times they are fit for purpose.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. And this one looks to be so far. Now, I think we are going to go, just quickly, we'll dip out of this footage because everything seems to be going very well. We'll come back to it. We might be able to keep it in a little box on the screen, hopefully, as well, so you can get the best of both worlds. But I'm desperate to go and see what Ben Leo is looking and feeling like at the moment over there. Can we go to him? Can we go to Ben Leo, our Chief US correspondent? Let's go. Ben, oh no, I'll tell you what, keep it on the screen, keep it on the screen. Sorry, what are we seeing, Andy?
It's in separation of the spacecraft, with the upper stage separating from the cowling, which I've got on the table there. So you're seeing that separation now. So there's the main booster. Oh, that's an unbelievable thing. And there's the main booster then will fall back down towards the Earth, and that rocket then will put them into a low Earth orbit. And then eventually it'll put them into a long elliptical orbit about the Earth.
Gosh. Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to look at. I mean, Tom, the sheer level of beauty on display here is amazing.
Well, it is something that is awe-inspiring, right? That we as human beings can create systems that take us beyond this Earth. Now, low Earth orbit has become relatively regular in recent years. Actually, the cost of getting to low Earth orbit has collapsed since the reusable rockets first pioneered by Elon Musk, and others are now stepping onto that train too. I mean, the cost of getting something into low Earth orbit is now a tenth of what it was about 15 years ago. So this is perhaps not as exciting. But the crucial point is that this is going a hell of a lot further than low Earth orbit. This is going 1,000 times as far.
What kind of stuff will they be doing on board, like in the coming days, Per? I mean, because it's going to be a while to go.
Yeah, first and foremost, they got to sort of get up there and get out of that ecliptic circle there. So there'll be an extra boost and then direction moon. But on the way up there, they're actually going to drop 2 small satellites on the way. There will be 2 satellites, small CubeSats with input from Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Korea, and Germany. So it is actually truly truly an international collaboration that's taken place here. So they will be dropping them along the way before they sort of head all the way up towards the moon.
Okay, all right. Now we're going to, in just a couple of minutes' time, we're going to take the voice of Ben Leo, because I'm reluctant to come off this footage. It's that good. We might miss something really important, but we're going to be hearing from him very, very shortly. Can we check in? Are we still getting comms between NASA and the base? I just want to see if we can hear what they're actually saying to each other. No, it's got a bit muted at the moment.
Good, Neds.
No, there's long pauses between what it is that they're saying, so yeah, we'll obviously check back into that in a second now.
And Integrity Houston for PWD setup, just a reminder, halfway open on the secondary.
Okay, so obviously it's technical instructions to each other there, which goes way over my head, I'm afraid. Maggie, does that mean anything to you at all?
No.
No, fair enough. At least you're honest. I like it. But yeah, just the amount of years that it's taken to get to this point now. I mean, could you maybe just explain to us, what a kind of big effort it has been just to get us to this stage where they can go to the far side of the moon?
I think it's annoying because I feel like space is like funded and then defunded and then funded and defunded. Orion Capsule was part of Constellation program, which was set up by in the George W. Bush era, and then it was cancelled, and now it's come back again. So it's decades of work, right? So. It's a long time.
When Artemis was first announced by Donald Trump in his first term as president, it set its sights on landing humans back on the moon in 2024. Now, people with calendars might have noticed that came and went about 2 years ago. But this is the important thing. I mean, there's always a battle between Congress and NASA, people asking for more money, but also, frankly, the bloat of the spending that NASA does. There's been arguments about how long they've taken, the cadence of this programme, for instance. The last time that SLS, this big orange rocket, launched was 3 years ago. The new administrator of NASA, a guy called Jared Isaacman, he's a self-made billionaire who himself has self-funded himself to go into space. He seems like a really competent guy. And one of the things that he's been saying is actually one of the reasons there's been a lot of trickiness about this mission and delays and leaking of helium and all the rest of it is that there's been a loss of talent at NASA. If you have a 3-year gap between each major launch, people are going to move on. There are other exciting opportunities out there. There are jobs going with Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. And actually, what he's trying to do is increase the speed. He's added extra missions as part of the Artemis programme to come each and every year. I think he wants a cadence of 10 months, every 10 months having a launch to try and keep that talent in NASA, to try and keep that Apollo spirit there and try and bring people back in-house. And frankly, also not have that long gap that then loses knowledge, that then increases timelines and increases costs.
Yeah. Well, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right, because although Richard Nixon cancelled the Apollo programme, he did approve the shuttle programme, and therefore the workers who'd worked on Saturn V and Apollo transferred over to keep the shuttle programme going. We didn't get that after shuttle went. Bush never thought about that, and therefore those people went. We lost them, and that you lost that consistency. It's something that the Russians have been very good at keeping a consistency, and so have the Chinese.
When Shuttle was retired, there were a humiliating couple of years when the Americans could only get up into space on Russian rockets, and it wasn't until Elon Musk developed the Falcon 9 rocket and the human-rated Dragon capsule, which I think first flew in 2018. It wasn't until then that actually America could get its own people back up into space again on American rockets. I mean, there was a decade of humiliation for America in space.
Yeah. Can I just say, actually, a moment for the families of the astronauts, because they must be so relieved at the moment. It's the start of an incredibly nerve-wracking 10 days or so. But can you imagine what they must have felt like watching the launch, knowing about the technical faults, and then seeing it blast off like that? It must be amazing. Something, obviously, you don't particularly seem to care about. You're just going up no matter what.
We're going, no, absolutely. No, I mean, in particular for Reed Wiseman, the commander, he has had, a challenging time. His wife died, I think it's 3 or 4 years ago, of cancer. So, and with the kids and everything, and yet and yet he's there. So he has done a lot more than anybody else because he had to take care of the family himself.
The psychology of
can you imagine just having lost that? Another fun fact about Reed, actually, which is not so many people know, is he's actually afraid of heights. Would you believe? Would you believe that? Which is quite sort of funny for an astronaut. But
he's going higher than literally any other human has ever gone in the history of the planet.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
But there you go.
What a way to conquer your fears.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It might go away by the end of it. I mean,
I'm just in awe, Maggie, because you have to justify, you know, to your families, to your friends, etc., why you're taking this risk and why it means so much, and the amount of hours and dedication, everything that it must take, you know, the separation away from your families, etc., to go and do this thing. I mean, you have to really, really be bought into the idea that this is for humanity, don't you, I think?
Absolutely, but like 3 of these astronauts are experienced astronauts. They've been to space before. Every time they launch into space is a risk, and they take that, and I'm sure their family are more than familiar with it. The one astronaut, the Canadian astronaut, Hansen, isn't it?
Jeremy Hansen.
Yeah. And so he's a first-time flyer. So for his families, yes, that's going to be an incredible anxiety. But yeah.
Jim Lovell's wife said it once when she said it's all right for him going up. He's busy, got things to do. we haven't. We've just got to sit here and get on with our daily lives and try not to think about the husband. He's going on the other side of the moon. And they said it's harder for them because they've got nothing to do but their ordinary life, whereas the astronauts are busy doing things. So for the wives, or husbands, it must be absolutely terrible, terrifying at times.
It's scary. I mean, think about, you know, go back to Apollo, Armstrong living sort of opposite of Ed White, and with the fire that they had, and then tragedy. Let's issue your neighbor, your friend, your everything. I mean,
and this was when several astronauts died in a horrific way with a fire in a test capsule.
That's right. On the launch pad. But they were just doing a normal test, and there were some electrical wires that sort of crossed, and the oxygen just went boom. There was no chance on Earth they could escape it. So that's real. We have had in our program, we have lost 4 people. And that's real. You know, we had an industrial accident on the ground on a very hot day out in Mojave, where things went wrong. We think there was a leak in the nitrogen, but these things happen. We lost 3 people that day, and in 2014 we had 2 test pilots going up, and one of them we think was too keen on putting on the brakes too early, and that meant too much stress on the frame, and the wing fell off, and it was just terrible. And one of them managed to escape miraculously through the window and landed again planet Earth, but obviously smashed to pieces. But one of them survived and the other one didn't. So this is real. I mean, this is very real. It's not an academic risk.
It's worth noting on the first moon mission, on Apollo 11, the number of times that almost went completely disastrously. I mean, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin almost got stuck on the surface of the moon because the switch that they needed to flick to get the thing to take off back again had broken. And they ended up using the tip of a ballpoint pen to connect the points, because they knew the inside of this rocket, of this capsule, like the back of their hands. They knew which bits of wire to connect to one another to make the thing lift off again. I mean, there are all of these stories from the Apollo era that we forget. But then, of course, with the shuttle programme, I think it had about a 2% failure rate. Everyone will remember the Challenger disaster and the 2 losses of crews. And this is more recent history. I mean, this is dangerous stuff.
Just hearing now, astronauts have been allowed to raise their visors. The 4 Artemis 2 astronauts were able to raise their visors a little more than 11 minutes into their flight towards the moon. The crew is now beginning to move within the capsule and check key systems. So that's the latest there. Now, I don't know if we're able to do this because we're taking full screen at the moment, but Andy Loud has actually brought with him a few models. And are they model replicas of this?
That's what we're seeing now.
So is there any way we might be able to box this up at all so that we can show, Andy can show off what he's brought, and we can maybe go into a bit more detail here with what we're actually looking at on the screen? I don't know if we might be able to do that. Not quite yet, Andy. You will have your moment with the models.
That's okay.
Don't worry, mate. You've got all night, I think, here. But what does that mean now in terms of Andy, the fact that they're now moving within the capsule and that they've been able to raise their visor?
It's good. It tells you straight away that the vehicle is actually stable, because you don't want to move around in an unstable vehicle. So they're able to move around now, and that's a really good sign. So things are going nominal, as we would say. Everything is normal. Everything is going as planned, and you're going through step-by-step procedures now where they'll put the spacecraft eventually into a stable Earth orbit, and then eventually go into a long elliptical orbit. So it's a step-by-step process, and that's working quite well. So that's really good.
OK. Do we know what kind of food they're going to be eating on the I'm always thinking about
yeah,
food.
they've published it. They've published the whole menu of all the food that they're bringing on board, and it's actually looks pretty good. The one thing I'm concerned about is that they've only planned for 43 coffees.
Really?
It's a 10-day mission. There's 4 of them. That's like 1 coffee a day each, and then 3 left over to fight over, right?
Yeah.
Really importantly, this is the first time there has been a capsule that goes to the moon that has had a toilet on board.
Yes.
The Apollo missions had no toilets at all, and I'm sorry if this is a little bit gruesome, but it is late-night television, so I think it's allowed. The Apollo astronauts had to poo in a plastic tube, and they had to roll it up and mix it with disinfectant. I mean, they had to know each other really intimately. But this capsule, we've moved on at least a little bit in the last 53 years.
We have indeed. We have indeed. Thankfully for everyone, actually. How important is it that you get on with the people you go to space with?
It's very important because it's such a confined space, and obviously the longer you have to be away, the more important it gets. And as a result of that, an astronaut tends to train in, for instance, in deep caves where it's dark and you lose sense of time and everything else. So you got to be able to do teamwork together, or indeed you get sent to some remote place, do your thing, camp and whatever, and survive. So you get to know each other very, very well, and that's a very good thing, because humans can be, if you're tired, if you're exhausted, if there's challenges, you can get a bit irritated, and it's sort of difficult to be around. So it's very important that you have that mental surplus and ability to have a good social interaction.
And just, you know, in about kind of 30 seconds here, Andy, what kind of tests do they do on these pilots? Not just for their actual acumen, but psychologically as well?
Lots of psychological testing to go on. And again, as you said, it's most to see how you get on with other people. How do you get on with somebody during a stressful situation is quite important. And there'll be really those tests on this spacecraft, actually, as they're going to the moon. They'll be deliberately creating problems to see how they solve it and how the vehicle handles in those problems. So everything is tested and rehearsed. Even problems are tested and rehearsed. So the psychological testing is breathtaking. See how, because some crews won't get on with each other, but others will. So you make sure those groups came together. The weirdest crew that ever flew is thought to be Apollo 11, strangely enough. They were the 3 most odd characters to get together. But because Neil Armstrong was very calm, I know it'll be all right. And it was all right. It was incredible. And that was the most unusual crew.
Wow, there we go. Well, look, we are going to be keeping it moon for the next couple of hours at least, aren't we, here on GB News? Now, it is very nearly goodbye from me. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of this show, whether that's the people in the studio or people who've been watching and listening at home. It's been an absolute honour and a privilege to report on history for you tonight. I hand you over now to Tom Howard.
Well, thank you, Patrick. Live from London, this is GB News, with the stories shaping Britain and America. Out of this world. History has been made tonight as Artemis 2 blasts off, sending astronauts further than anyone has ever been before, and taking humanity one step closer to living beyond Earth. Well, of course, Ben Leo has been in Florida for us throughout the whole launch. We'll be speaking to him in just a moment about that very real sense of history as we've seen this most powerful rocket lift 4 astronauts beyond the Earth and begin them on their course around the moon. It's a journey that will take them to an apogee of 250,000 miles from home, further than any human has been before. Well, coming up on the programme also today, President Trump reveals he'll torch NATO in a landmark speech in just hours as he absolutely threatens to quit the disgusting alliance, leaving Western security in disarray. Goodness me. Well, he's just made an extraordinary claim about the King. We'll bring you that as well. This is, of course, The Late Show Live, bringing you continuous coverage of the Artemis 2 launch, which has just taken place from Cape Canaveral in Florida, launching from Launch Pad 39B, the very same launch pad that launched Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin and all the other Apollo astronauts during that first golden space age in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Well, 53 years later, we are going back around the moon. Joining me this evening is my London panel, and of course I'll have a world panel over in Washington DC, but here in London, the space expert Andy Lound and the astrophysicist researcher Maggie Liu. In Washington, we'll have the political commentator Hilary Fordwich and political analyst Eric Ham. But let's speak here in London first. My goodness me. Maggie, we're going to start with you. We're currently looking at a representation of what the Orion capsule is currently doing. What is it currently doing?
It is going into orbit around the Earth. It will do 2 orbits around the Earth before it's able to kind of jet off towards the moon.
And that's sort of using Earth a bit like a slingshot, is it? To then fly up and not go directly to the moon, because, of course, the moon is moving as well. It needs to fly towards where it thinks the moon will be. Absolutely.
So they will predict they will know where the moon is. And most of its fuel has been spent already. So once it leaves kind of Earth's orbit,